What's going on, guys? This is Brian with Dark Outpost, and even when it's nearly impossible to find a physical copy of Ghost of Tsushima anywhere in the world, it is still destroying sales right now. It's about to become the best-selling first-party PS4 game in history in Japan. Ever. Not just in the first 3 weeks, but ever. We're going to look into the sales numbers that we just got from Japan, and there's also great news on the digital download front as well. And we have some more information from someone who works at a Best Buy that's going to tell us exactly how many Ghost of Tsushima copies were ordered and how many stacks and stacks and stacks of The Last of Us Part 2 are still sitting there rotting away on their shelves. But first, let's take a look at these awesome numbers. This is remarkable from Japan. After only 3 weeks of sales, Ghost of Tsushima is already the second best-selling game lifetime for a PlayStation first-party studio in Japan on PS4. Number one is Spider-Man at roughly 300,000 physical sales. Ghost of Tsushima isn't far behind and will surpass it in the coming weeks. Amazing results. And it's so funny that this is happening with all of the games journalists, with all of the white people out there that were really upset about how this game used cultural appropriation, how it was made by a Western studio and it shouldn't happen like that, and the Japanese people should hate this game. Well, it's the exact opposite. They absolutely love this game. Both the audience and the critics love this game. And you have to keep in mind that these record-breaking numbers are all happening after PlayStation has already said that they didn't make enough. They knew that first week. Ghost of Tsushima has been well received than we expected, but we are out of stock at some stores. Currently, additional production is underway, but the download version is also available on the PS Store. That was, of course, the Japanese PlayStation account on Twitter. They sold out of this game. They did not create enough copies of this game to fulfill demand. That's where we are at with Ghost of Tsushima, and that's why that's such a big deal. You can see, let's take a look at the numbers, right? We had that huge opening weekend, 212, a record-breaking opening for Ghost of Tsushima. Then, after the game sold out everywhere, the next week, we still had an additional 53,000 copies sold, doubling the week 2 sales for The Last of Us Part 2. That is double what Last of Us Part 2 did. And now in the third week, we can see it's still holding on strong at 31,000 copies sold, bringing the total to just under 300,000 copies. Absolutely astonishing when it comes to Ghost of Tsushima. Like, congratulations to them. That is insane. No one saw this coming. But again, it's not just the Japanese sale. We know, we've showed you guys that there's articles from all over the globe saying that it's hard to find in countries all around the world. But we also have good news on the digital side, because we know if it's sold out, a lot of people are probably going to buy digital. You know that has to happen. July PSN bestsellers, Ghost of Tsushima takes the number one spot in the United States and Europe. Now, this is not really a surprise, to be honest, and there's not any numbers associated with this. So it's kind of just we have to look at it and see. But either way, awesome news for Ghost of Tsushima taking that number one spot in the United States and in Europe. Ghost of Tsushima, the number one downloaded on the PlayStation Store. So another bit of great news for Ghost of Tsushima. You can see right here, Sucker Punch's epic open world adventure Ghost of Tsushima claimed the PS4 top spot in PlayStation Store top downloads last month for Europe and the United States. Of course, Last of Us Part 2 was on top for June. Again, not really a surprise. Now, Sony claimed that it was 2.8 digital downloads for The Last of Us Part 2. We don't have a number yet for Ghost of Tsushima. I'm anxiously awaiting to hear, because I think it's going to be much higher than people expected. Again, because when you go out and you can't find the game anywhere, of course, people are going to use more digital downloads for that. I'm really excited to see that number. I think with the way we're seeing Ghost of Tsushima tracking, and the fact that we have copies of The Last of Us 2 still sitting in stores, tons of them, that I think this is tracking really well, really positive for Ghost of Tsushima. I think eventually we're going to see it outsell Last of Us Part 2 in the long run, even after that record-breaking opening weekend that they had for The Last of Us Part 2. Now, I said that I had something to talk about. I I have information from a Best Buy. I'm not going to say which Best Buy, and I'm not going to say the person's name that sent it to me. I talked a little bit about it in my video the other day. They have let me release some of the pictures from the store, so I wanted to take a look at a couple of them. They went and showed me a bunch of pictures of the stock that they have in the back room. Not the stock that you see out on shelves that are flooding shelves everywhere, at every Walmart, every Target, every Best Buy you can find. The stores are flooded with The Last of Us Part 2. But this is in the back. Not out in front, not where anyone can see, in the back. So I also have some information from them that I wanted to share for you guys. Now this is in regards, because I asked them, how many copies of Ghost of Tsushima did you get? How many copies of Last of Us 2? How many have sold? Because I'm really interested in those numbers. A couple of the things that I think was very freaking interesting. The Last of Us 2, they were shipped 175 copies of The Last of Us 2 through that first bit of June. So first week of July, they had sold, they still had 111 copies left. Meaning they had only sold 64 copies of The Last of Us Part 2 in June, the first month of its release. Now, since then, all the way from July to the first week of August, they still have 104 copies left. 104 copies. All the stuff you're seeing right there in the back. They have 104 copies of The Last of Us Part 2 sitting there. They sold a whole 7 of them during the month of July. That is a huge drop-off, and they are going to be sitting with these for a long, long time. As conversely, when you look at Ghost of Tsushima, I was shocked by how few orders they got for Ghost of Tsushima. 25 standard copies and 6 launch edition copies. So 31 copies of Ghost of Tsushima. That's all they were shipped. They are all gone, obviously. They sold out effectively immediately. There is nothing left physical for Ghost of Tsushima, and they're not even getting one on the next shipment. That is how underestimated the success of this game was. They simply don't have enough copies. They don't have enough copies to sell people. People want this game, and you can't buy it right now because the supply is simply not there. But the demand definitely is. When you look at things like this, that is why I think that over the long run, we're going to end up selling more copies of Ghost of Tsushima than they will sell of The Last of Us Part 2. It doesn't make any sense. They only sold 7 copies of the 111 that they had in the month of July. That is tragic. That's why these things are sitting there rotting on shelves, and we all know why. We've talked about Last of Us. We've talked about the story and what happened a million times. What Naughty Dog did and how they treated their IP and how they treated their fans. Sucker Punch has done the exact opposite. They gave fans something. They rewarded their fans. They gave them what they wanted, not what the developers think that they should want. And they've been open to criticism. They have been so awesome about this whole thing. It's incredible to see what Sucker Punch has done with this farewell, essentially, to PS4 exclusives. What a great way to end the PS4 as opposed to Naughty Dog and The Last of Us Part 2, which will continue to rot on shelves. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. Great news for Ghost of Tsushima again on the sales front. Just killing it. Knocking it out of the park in Japan, which is again where we were told that, oh, they shouldn't like this. This is cultural appropriation. They should be more sensitive to this. And then they got mad when the Japanese people turned out to love this game. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.
I'm right here!
Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.